Oh my gosh, is this actually a new episode of Who the Heck Is? You bet your sweet little behind it is. We're finally back with some more dives into characters from one of my all-time favorite games, Shining Force 2. For this and upcoming videos, I did want to play a bit more deeply into this particular game to make sure I got some post-promotion footage to be able to show off a bit more of that character progression the game is known for. Once again, we'll be taking a look at 3 characters as we did in the previous episode. So without further ado, I'm Sodabread, and this is Who the Heck Are Jaha, Kazin, and Slade. How about some backstory? Let's start this one off with our jolly buddy Jaha. Jaha comes from the bottom left of Grand Seal. He's a classmate of the other 3 folks you have at this point in the game. He was super disappointed in the fact that he missed what happened at the castle, but he overslept, so it's his own fault. He's with us now and will be forevermore. Next, we've got Kazin, who is the first defensive caster to join the Shining Force, and he is a student studying magic under Sir Howell. He lives just outside of Yale, the second town that you get to. After Howell's death, Kazin agrees to join us. Next, we've got Slade. This guy is pretty much the entire reason for what's going on. By watching the game's pre-menu cutscene, we see that Slade steals the Jewels of Light and Evil and kicks off the unsealing of the tower. We meet Slade in jail in Garam, who is actually the one that frees us. We learn that Slade is actually a really decent guy in that he usually steals to help out the less fortunate. Unfortunately this time, he just made a huge boo-boo. Now for some combats. Jaha is our first axe wielder, and related to that, he tends to hit like a truck early on. He starts off with a +5 attack short axe and has an attack range of 1 like the rest of the melee fighters. His defense is really good pretty much throughout the game, so he works as a great tank to frontline the force. Our dwarven friend, who starts off as a warrior class, has the ability to promote into 2 different classes. First off is the Gladiator, which has a higher focus on defense, namely a +10 bonus. With the Warrior Pride, he can be promoted into the Baron class, which gets a +1 move, slightly higher agility, and the ability to equip swords in addition to axes. As far as actual weapons go, he's got a pretty serious selection. For axes, we're looking at him upgrading to one of the following. The Heat Axe, which has an attack power 32, and upon use can cast Blaze 2, the Atlas Axe, a complete upgrade over the Heat Axe, with a power 35 and the ability to cast Blaze 3, the Ground Axe, which comes with a +1 to move and a nice attack power of 39, the Rune Axe, with 42 attack and the Detox 1 ability, and finally the Evil Axe, with a whopping 50 attack, -5 defense, and of course, it's cursed. Mind you, all of the non-cursed ones I mentioned are mithril weapons, so you might get lucky, you might not. Told you there was a lot. Now, if you go the Baron route, you got even more choices. The Great Sword is a 0 effect mithril weapon that adds 29 attack. The Critical Sword, which is one of my favorites, ups crit chance with a base attack of 32. The Battle Sword has no effects but an attack of 35. And the Counter Sword ups attack by nice 39 and also increases the chances of a counter attack. Finally, the Dark Sword. This bugger has the same curse, 50 attack, and -5 defense of the Evil Axe, but it has the ability to cast Diesel 1 for those occasional insta-kills. Kazin, like mentioned earlier, is the first offensive caster we recruit. He starts off with a +3 attack wooden rod, similar to Sarah, but I doubt you'll be doing much melee attacking with him anyway. Similar to Jaha, he's also got 2 classes into which he can promote. He starts off as a mage, and his default promotion is into that of wizard. With a secret book in hand, he can promote into the super fun sorcerer class, which probably would have been better off named summoner, but that's just my opinion. The main difference between these 2 is that sorcerer spells do big damage when you're hitting a couple targets, but that damage splits between all targets, whereas wizard spells will do the same damage to all targets, regardless of count. Okay, now how about some weapons? Kazin's got a pretty big selection here, along with all other staff and rod users. First up, we've got the Mage Staff with an attack of 27 and allows the wielder to cast Blaze 2. Not overly useful for our friend here. Next is the Great Rod, which has no effects but comes in at 28 attack. That's not very great if you ask me. Now we have the Supply Staff, bringing 32 attack and stealing the enemy's MP. Decent utility, but exposes the user to being swatted by some of the rather stronger enemies later in the game. There's the Freeze Staff, giving 37 attack and allowing the casting of Freeze 2, increasing Kazin's utility a little bit. The final mithril weapon is the Mystery Staff, with its 39 attack and 2 MP per round, and it works very well for many casters. Then there's their cursed weapon, the Demon Rod, which bestows 50 attack, -10 agility, and saps the holder's MP. Basically turns the user into a battle mage. Could be kinda cool. Finally, we've got Slade. Slade's okay to start out. He's got nothing special and just acts as another mediocre damage dealer, but he does have decent move. His starting weapon is a +5 attack short knife. While I personally don't much appreciate him as a thief class he starts out as, he promotes into a ninja, which is like my thing. As a ninja, he gets access to some really nice weaponry. Let's talk about that, shall we? Well, we've got some of the same weapons as Jaha over there in the Great Sword, Critical Sword, and Dark Sword. However, being a ninja, Slade also gets access to a couple of specific weapons. There's the katana giving 34 attack, the ninja katana giving 39 attack, but both having no effects. Then there's the gisarm. I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that right, so feel free to correct me in the comments. This thing though, I'm telling you, 42 attack, but can also straight up kill an enemy by cutting them in half. Very nice. I really like Slade in this game, and I find him to be one of the most powerful characters late game, and definitely one of my favorites. Alright, it's time for abilities. Here we are again, talking about Jaha. For his abilities, we've got, the ability to swing an axe or sword and cleave his foolhardy enemies. Well, that's pretty much it. We can't expect too much, as he's a melee fighter dwarf like Luke or Gort that came before him. Also, once again for the spells, I'm going to mention, I'll say the total level of the character must be in order to use it, so if I say 36, that would be 36 unpromoted, or 16 after the level 20 promotion. Note, Slade and Sorcerer Kazin are exceptions here, as Slade cannot get his spells until he's a ninja, and Kazin's are based on him actually being a sorcerer. So Kazin starts off in mediocrity with just the ability of Blaze 1, which deals 5 to 7 damage, but usually 6. He unlocks subsequent levels of Blaze at 5, 22, and 35, with level 4 dealing on average 40 damage. The Muddle spell, which confuses enemies, is learned at 9, with rank 2 being unlocked at 25. Dispel, which prevents enemy magic. To be honest, I don't think I've ever used Dispel successfully. It comes at level 13. Finally, D-Soul, which is an attempt at an instant kill, is at levels 18 and 29. Now, if Kazin goes the Sorcerer path instead of Wizard, Deo is learned right away, with rank 2 coming at promoted level 12 with a max damage of 40. Apollo is learned at 4 and 17, capping at 50 damage. Neptune at 7 and 26, topping out at 61 damage. And finally, Atlas at levels 21 and 32 with a big old 73 damage. Keep in mind that all the sorcerer spells are damage based, so Kazin will totally lose all his regular utility by going this route. Slade gets 2 spells, Katon and Raijin, which are ranked up Blaze and Bolt respectively. So Katon 1 is Blaze 2. Katon though is learned at level 4 and upgraded at 9 and 25. Raijin is obtained at 14, then upgraded at 19 and 32. With these spells at his disposal and his innate offensive ability, Slade is a must-have in my parties. Okay, we're winding down a little bit. Next up is stats. So let's take a look at Jaha's initial stats, shall we? So at level 1, he has 9 HP, 0 MP of course, 14 attack, 7 defense, 4 agility, and 5 move. His attack is beefy, but levels out through pre-promotion, as does his HP. But his defense grows somewhat decently at low levels, and shoots up post-promo. This dude turns it into a freaking wall, let me tell ya. Even pre-promo, he takes 1 to 3 damage from most attacks early on, up to about 7 or so later on against those pre-Kraken enemies. Kazin start. Kazin starts off at level 4 with 13 HP, 13 MP, 9 attack, 7 defense, 10 agility, and 5 move. His defense starts off pretty shallow, which is fine considering he turns into a glass cannon later on. He wears a robe, what do you expect? So he does, however, get decent agility and HP gains further into promotion territory, so not all is lost defensively. Finally, my man Slade. He starts off at level 5 with 12 HP, 0 MP, 14 attack, 10 defense, 10 agility, and 7 move. Slade starts off okay. His attack might not be as high as some others, but he's definitely capable of holding his own. His HP makes some really nice jumps post-promo, and his agility ramps up nicely as well. Around 15-ish after his promotion, his attack also makes a sharp turn upwards. Okay, it is flavor quote time! We've got Jaha with "Stand at attention, ready for inspection, sir!" We've got Kazin with "Sir Howell's teachings were very helpful. Strategy was his cup of tea." And finally, Slade with "I'm like a shadow of the night, silent and deadly." So, there you have it. Jaha, Kazin, and Slade all overviewed for you. Out of this lot, if you couldn't tell, Slade is definitely my pick if I had to choose one. I've spent a good portion of my life obsessed with ninja video game characters, so Slade's love is kind of explained through that. With that though, I want to thank you very much for stopping by and watching this video, and I look forward to see you again when next time I dive into another of my favorite RPG characters. If you like, drop a comment if you want to rage at me for getting something wrong, or leave me some words of encouragement. Like if you liked it, and sub if you want to come back for more Who the Heck Is. Feel free to check out the rest of the videos here on the Site Scope RPG channel, and stay tuned for when I get the rest of my Who the Heck Is series remastered and uploaded here. Thanks again for watching.